Hey folks, morning again. Still on this beautiful property at Peel, north of Bathurst. And I'm just taking the time to make this sort of delayed video, which I probably should have made a while ago. But it's a little bit of a tricky one, but I finally had some time and a really nice location to make this one now. This is Eucalyptus blakelyi, Blakely's red gum. And it's a bit of a tricky one for New South Wales. I'll put it in that bucket with my Terra de Cornus video. One where it's a bit hard to do it justice, and there's a fair bit of ecological sort of tidbit about it because basically we're in our troublesome red gum group again. Our beautiful troublesome red gums, which can be taxonomically difficult to discern, but we battle with them the best we can. I've already collected trees of blakelyi around here. I've collected them here and I've collected them up a hill, which is just to the south there, thinking that there was a chance they might be Eucalyptus beta. But the Botanic Gardens boffins with their genetics told me they were more fitting in with blakelyi than they were with beta. So I still find blakelyi and beta very confusing. I haven't made a video on beta, and I can go through some of the differences, but I thought some of the trees here on this sort of rockier, shrubbier ground with a bit of calitris might have been beta, but they're sort of coming back as blakelyi. So here it is, and there's plenty of them around. There's also Eucalyptus polyanthemos, and there's also Eucalyptus melliodora on this site, and there's a bit of macrorhyncha as well, red stringy bark. So I've just got to make sure I don't confuse my blakelyis with my polyanthemoses as we go through. But this is a typical blakelyi trunk. It's known for throwing these copper tones, though you will see that said about beta as well. And then you get these nice white patches. And a lot of the trunk will be smooth. You might get some sort of fibrous chunks at the bottom, like this sort of here. Remember what I showed with Terra de Cornus, if you haven't seen that video. On the red gums, you just get a bit of random sized fibrous or thickly fibrous chunks at the bottom. We wouldn't call that a ribbon, but it's sort of going ribbon-like. And then you got this sort of more fibrous, chunky stuff. Remember the Terra de Cornus, I pulled off a big plate. You can do that with blakelyi as well. And then you get a lot of nice white, smooth trunk. And yeah, these copper tones, they can be really beautiful sometimes. I'll just walk over to this one here, just for a bit of variation. I've been warned to look for resident snakes. There's a few snakes hanging around. There's a goanna over there too, trying to knock off chicken eggs, which is funny to watch. It's all happening on this site. So here's another blakelyi here, and just got these beautiful tones going up to a sort of broad-leafed canopy up. If we're making linkages, I'd put the canopy in terms of dimensions and shape. I'd put it in with something like Mollucana or Albans or something like that, just with its fatter, sort of shorter leaves a lot of the time. Now, it's a bit disappointing. I've walked around for half an hour and I can only find tons of fruit. I can't find buds. It would be very helpful to look at the buds for blakelyi. I've only got fruit here at the moment, but we'll try our best and go through a few things. If I can find some buds by the end of the day, I'll throw those into the video as well. But there is a whole heap of fruiting material here. I was around Goulburn the other day on a farm. There was some blakelyi there, and all I could get were fruit. I just couldn't find any buds on trees in Goulburn, and now I'm in Bathurst and I can't find any buds on the trees in Bathurst either. Eucalyptus blakelyi It's a very strong New South Wales tree in the main. It does get into Queensland. Again, it punches up through that Stanthorpe Warwick area and it just peters out there. And it's got most of its occurrence is in New South Wales. In New South Wales, it's on the tablelands and slopes very, very commonly. Again, I'd put it in the top 3 or top 5 trees at least that you're going to come across if you are running up and down the tablelands and western slopes of New South Wales. I just think about some areas where I see a ton of it, between Goulburn and Canberra and some of the back roads there, around Bathurst here, and further afield. It's just such a numerous tree. It's in the countryside and it's sort of countless, you know, tens of thousands. And I know a lot of them have been cleared, but there's still a lot of them here. So I've got it in with Melliodora and Albans. It's just such a numerous tree, blakelyi. I reckon it's more common than dill beta, but some people might argue with me on that. And it goes out to about Dubbo, it goes out to about Griffith. It's right up and down the entirety of the state. It's punching into Victoria through Albury there and further afield. It goes out to about Bendigo. And then in Victoria, there's a few disjunct patches down towards Melbourne. It looks like there's just a few little disjunct records and patches as you go down towards Melbourne that are interesting. But it's sort of one of those trees that, I don't know, 90% of the occurrence seems to be in New South Wales. Now, just going through quickly, ecologists know and botanists know we've just got a heap of intergradation zones or what might be hybrid zones or just zones where trees aren't neatly fitting into one species or the other. We've got a heap of known blakelyi dillbata intergrades around the Bathurst, Cowra, Goulburn area. I've collected blakelyi from Goulburn and sent it to the Botanic Gardens only to be told it looks like it's blakelyi cross pterodocornis. If you go into the Hunter Valley, it's notorious for blakelyi cross pterodocornis. And if you're here where I am now, it's notorious for blakelyi cross dill beta. Dill beta are known for having the glaucous white wax on the new growth and on the buds. But blakelyi can sometimes also have slight glaucous wax on the buds and maybe on the new growth as well. As I look at all these trees, I'm not getting any hints of any glaucous wax on the new tips. And I haven't got any buds, which is really annoying, but I have seen buds here before and they're not throwing any sort of waxy hue. Hopefully I can get the buds before the end of, before I publish the video by the end of today. But the buds, they have a sort of narrower operculum compared to pterodocornis. It doesn't sort of flare out in that horn shape. They've got a narrower operculum a lot of the time, and they can be in 7s to 15s. So pterodocornis, we tend to get buds in 7s a lot of the time, although that's not 100% concrete, but that's what I look for. blakelyi, they go well and truly 7 to 15 a lot of the time. I tried to get some juvenile growth here just to sort of kick us off. Yeah, here's some here. And it's not really doing it justice, but even with blakelyi, we're still in that sort of amplifolia pterodocornis, dill beta sort of group where you get these nice, genuinely large juvenile leaves. And I think in blakelyi, they can be up to about, something like 8 by 10 centimetres. So just like I showed with pterodocornis and really extremely with amplifolia, you can get these really nice, really broad juvenile leaves, and it sort of gives you a bit of a tip that there's blakelyi around. I would say this is a sapling of blakelyi just here. It wouldn't be polyanthemos, I don't think. And just check out these juveniles. So, don't want to exaggerate, but I reckon this one here is about 10 by 6 centimetres, something like that. And that's what they commonly do. So just like pterodocornis, They're getting these really nice big juveniles in the red gums. Remember, amplifolia take it to a really extreme level, but blakelyi, they can be pretty big as well. No hint of glaucous wax on these stems. Blakelyi can move up until dill beta habitat. Dill beta likes the higher rocky ground, and that's why I thought there might be some to the south there. But the thing with blakelyi, it's on the nice fertile valley flats, but it also likes to be up on the rocky ground as well. So it really throws us a lot of the time. But just note these saplings, very bluey leaves. There's no albans on this site, but you just got these nice bluey juveniles. What I linked to Pterodocornis as well. Here I've got a lot of adult leaves because you got to think they got fruit on them. So, you know, happily adult foliage here. The adult foliage can be 20 centimetres long by 4.5 centimetres wide. So we've got a real chunky red gum foliage, similar to Pterodocornis and amplifolia, which can throw these really long, broad leaves. So 20 centimetres long, 4.5 centimetres wide. Being a red gum, I know these ones have got a fair bit of crap on them and they're sort of half-eaten as well. Being a red gum, they're concolorous. There's no hint of discoloration there. So they're nicely concolorous. That's a nice mature branch. These ones are a bit more healthy. So just, yeah, what I call a genuine red gum leaf. Bluey green, concolorous. And just the width, you know, can vary. You sort of get these leaves in the canopy that look sort of semi-juvenile, and then they're sort of going to more adult, maybe more lanceolate. But these may be smaller, younger trees here, and they're growing like a bit of a mallee here to about 10 metres tall. They've got some really fat leaves on them here. But the leaves of blakelyi can vary enormously just in the length and the width. Maybe a bit like Molyacana, the grey box. I find their leaves all over the place. And someone's having some trouble, they told me, with suspected blakelyi in the Hunter Valley somewhere where they're hitting 30 metres tall and they've got really narrow leaves, or narrowish leaves, I think. And that could be blakelyi cross Pterodocornis maybe if they're getting really tall. Normally blakelyi is about to 20 metres tall. It doesn't get as big as Pterodocornis, and dill beta is probably about the same size, but you normally see dill beta on the high rocky ground as a smaller tree. So that's the adult foliage there. Then I got a whole heap of fruit. There's fruit everywhere. They're all over the place. So they're very Pterodocornis looking, but they're normally smaller. They're normally smaller than Pterodocornis, and they're normally smaller than dill beta. But there's a typical red gum fruit with the raised disc and the exserted valves. They're meant to be in 7s to 15s. They're about 8 mil wide and about 7 mil long, something like that. So you just think about 8 by 8, 8 mil wide, 8 mil long. Pterodocornis, they can be bigger. The blakelyi, most people say they have slightly smaller fruit. I think dill beta, they're more like Pterodocornis, a bit bigger. But you can see the raised discs there, the exserted valves, the very distinctive pedicel and the very distinctive peduncle. And that's typical blakelyi. There is a fair heap of fruit here. I managed to get these ones, which, if I don't break it, they're in more than 7s. You can see that there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Well, that's 8. That's the biggest cluster I've been able to find. But people do see blakelyi regularly punching up above 7, especially in the bud stage. Remember, it's a bud stage we've got to check, but they'll punch up above 7. Here, the disc isn't as sort of raised as I'd like it to be. The valves are well and truly exserted. When that disc isn't raised so much and it's more flat, you got to start thinking Eucalyptus dwyeri, or the possibility of dwyeri, especially on this higher rocky country. But I think we're too far east here for records of dwyer eye. I don't think you'd find much dwyer eye around these parts. We did have it on our walk yesterday. Dwyer eye also tends to have sort of narrower foliage a lot of the time. But I'm happily calling these blakelyi eye, and I've collected them before and they've been verified as that. But probably with some dill beta influence as well, or showing some dill beta genetics too. 4 valves a lot of the time. And you can see just how strongly exerted they are. Typical red gum feature. So that's Eucalyptus blakelyi eye. It's taken me a while to get around to this one. Hopefully, to finish off the video, I'll be able to find some buds, even if it's just one cluster. I'm going to walk up the hill this afternoon and just see if I can find some buds. But a very common prolific tree on the tablelands of New South Wales. It's one of the first ones or primary ones you're going to have to get familiar with, I'd say, if you're working out this way or botanising out this way, along with Melliodora and along with Albans. Just one we get familiar with really quickly. Here we go here, like Pterodocornis, you just get these nice big plates. This is a thin one. Pterodocornis, I had a really thick one, which I said I could have knocked out someone with. But this is very thin. But you just get these nice big random plates coming off the red gums like this. And then just a lot of smooth trunk after that. So it's a beautiful tree. It is a koala favourite as well, being in the red gum group. So any koalas out this way, we'll definitely target them too. I'll just have another look at the juvenile foliage over here, just for a bit of value adding. This is all juvenile foliage, and you can just see how fat it is. Just a nice fat bluey green juveniles.